Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a video and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, I am privileged to welcome a wellness entrepreneur, Preeti Rao, to our show. Preeti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ashutosh.
Thank you. Preeti is the founder and CEO of an organization called WellG. She's a leading health and wellness coaching organization, and she's a qualified personal trainer and a certified yoga teacher. So, Preeti, what would you say are three key milestones in your life or your career?
Yeah, what a powerful question to start off this interview, Ashutosh. Three main milestones which have been instrumental for me personally and professionally. My first was when I was only about 21 years old, and I had the opportunity to go to an ashram.
Okay.
And I stayed at the ashram for about a month. We had to get up at 5:30 in the morning, do satsang, and everyone was assigned a karma yoga task. We were doing few hours of yoga every day, just kind of being in that regiment of discipline and completely detached from the rest of the world. No makeup, no fancy outfits, just kind of immersing in myself really allowed me to look at my life, and I sat on the riverbed, which was right next to the ashram in Trivandrum, for many hours meditating and pondering on the question, who am I? Why am I here? And what makes me happy?
Okay.
So these are the questions I was asking when I was 21. And my experience of being in the ashram rather than going to a discotheque or, doing other things that young people were doing, gave me an absolute clarity in terms of where I wanted to head. So that was the first. The second was when I had an episode of car accidents in my life.
Okay.
So even though I had absolute clarity what I was called to do, I did not have the courage to follow through. Okay. Sometimes you have a lot of self-doubt. You don't believe in your own vision, or you don't have, the guts and the courage to follow through. So in America, when I was living there, I had a very bad car accident, which even now I have some sort of a disability in my spine, which limits my movement and day-to-day activities sometimes. But the car accident, what happened was thereafter, I was almost bedridden for some time. Okay. Again, a time of reflection, right? Because you kind of look at your life and you say, what happened? Because this was a time, every time I got on a flight, the flight would be canceled, delayed. If you were traveling with me, your bags would arrive on time and mine won't. Wow. So I was like, the universe is trying to tell me something and I'm not listening. Okay. So here I am lying on the bed and I can't really do much except ponder on my life. So this was the second instance. I took me back to the first incident when I said, that is what I wanted to do, but I'm not doing what I'm called for. And maybe that is why I have this reoccurrence of these episodes by the universe trying to say, you need to look at your life differently.
Okay.
I think the third incident was the birth of my son. Okay. And it was very profound. Even till the time my son was born, which is about when I was 38 years old, I kept, should I do it? Should I not do it? Will I have the courage to, and everybody in society keeps telling you, there is nothing in this, you can't really make anything out of this. There's no opportunity. And there's a lot of self-doubt that the society portrays on you. And sometimes it kind of, you can start believing that, right? So, but with the birth of my son, it always was like WellG birthed out of me. Okay. It was a very powerful journey for me because I realized at that point, this is what I was born to do. But if I didn't do it now, I'll probably never do it. Something about birthing my son gave me the courage, the belief, self-belief that I can do this. And every time as a young mother or a mother who's just given birth, not really young, but a mother who's just given birth to a child, who would probably ideally spend time resting, I was writing my model. Right? So my son, the birth of my son was the third instrumental lifestyle, event in my life. And ever since then, I haven't looked back.
Fantastic.
So these are the three important
That's
moment.
quite amazing milestone. So tell me, you said that at 21 you went off to this ashram.
Yes.
What motivated you to go to the ashram? I mean, what was there in your earlier years that motivated you to go to this ashram and find yourself?
You know what happened, Ashutosh? I was at that time also the Reebok Fitness brand ambassador. So I used to teach a lot of classes, 1,000 classes in a year. So if you imagine, my life was always on the body beautiful space, right? The trainer who's always trying to get people fit, but a lot of great satisfaction from that space. But then when, again, I was in America and I had visited an aunt of mine and I saw her do a headstand. Okay. When I saw her do the headstand, I was like, I want to conquer that. Again, coming from a physical mindset that I want to be able to do that. And I can't do that even after I've been training so many people in 1,000 classes. And why the hell can I not stand on my head? Right? So the pursuit of the headstand took me to the ashram here in Delhi.
Okay.
And I went to the ashram and there was a gentleman, I still remember his name, Arunji. He was sitting next to me and he said, Preeti, I see you going to the ashram. Because when you go to the ashram, your life is going to be transformed and people have been healed and people have overcome life challenges and lifestyle diseases. My inquisitiveness of this man's conviction, how can somebody's life be transformed, at a metaphysical, emotional, mental, spiritual space, drove me to an ashram at the age of 21, 22 years old, packing my bags and sitting in the train for 3 days. And that's what actually drove me, my pursuit, my inquisitiveness of that. I'm so glad I followed my intuition at that time because it's one of the most beautiful experiences I've had in my life.
Fantastic. So let's talk about, when I was reading about you, I was reading your mission, which is to make a difference in people's lives by eradicating the root cause of disease and reduce chances of recurring. Tell me about this mission and help me understand what exactly you mean.
I'll tell you what I mean, right? What happens is sometimes when for example, somebody realizes they're diabetic, okay? Or somebody realizes they're overweight and they want to lose weight. And if you look at most people, it's a vicious journey. They're constantly trying to come out of that, the challenge. However, what happens is the root cause of the problem is never explored. Neither the practitioner has the time to delve into that depth because they're so overburdened. And sometimes the clients also are not equipped to explore that, right? So that's why I feel if we are able to empower the clients and the patients to understand what the root cause is. For example, for obesity or weight, it could be emotions, it could be self-image, it could be stress that is coming out of relationships, it could be confusion, it could be lack of sense of purpose and meaning in life, and food is fueling that need.
Correct.
So hence a lot of times the root cause of the origin of the problem is never explored, right? So once we know the root cause, then only can we create goals and help the client to get into a recovery phase.
Yeah.
So that is why I wanted to really focus on empowering the client to discover their own root cause.
Preeti, let's now move to your organization, WellG.
Yes.
Tell me about this venture and what motivated you to start it.
I think the rising lifestyle disease epidemic in India, with us being the world's diabetes capital and cardiovascular health heart health going down in the gutters, for a lack of a better word, but also mental health being a big issue. A lot of women die in India because of suicides. There's obviously lack of wellness and well-being.
Correct.
So when I looked at that, and while this is when I'm looking at India while I'm sitting in America, okay, and I felt that the healthcare system needed a revolution, needed some sort of a paradigm shift in the way it looked at clients, right? And with that purpose, I decided to start WellG, where the focus is, again, looking at a client in a manner that they're whole, they're capable, and using evidence-based approaches, whether that is coaching psychology, evidence-based nutrition, exercise physiology, mind-body balance approaches, integrative health approaches, how we can help clients to actually make these changes in their life and sustain them.
Okay.
One part was that. The second part was when I came to India, that was my model initially. But when I came to India, I realized India does not have health and wellness coaches. This is about 5 years from where we are sitting today. 5 years ago, nobody even talked about a health coach and a wellness coach in India, if you remember. So I realized we needed more skilled people.
Okay.
How do we even service the market? We needed more skilled people. So that was another initiative that we create world-class health and wellness coaches in India, which will further on have a ripple effect and go on impact other people's life,
Okay.
and thereby change the overall health and well-being of the nation. So that was
Wonderful.
the mission.
And what is integrative health that you speak about?
Yes. So integrative health, conventionally we talked about integrative health when we integrate modalities, right? So we're integrating allopathic medicine with complementary and alternative medicines. Complementary medicines such as homeopathic, Ayurveda, Siddha, and alternatives such as, Reiki, pranic healing, acupuncture, so on and so forth. So when we integrate and offer a holistic solution to a client, that's called integrative health. However, this approach has expanded now. This approach has expanded in a manner that it has to be now, rather than practitioner driven, it has to be client driven.
Okay.
It has to be client centric. It is looking at a person from, as I said, the whole person perspective, which means looking at every aspect of their life, physical, emotional, social, intellectual health, occupational health, mental health, and spiritual health, looking at all the 8 dimensions of wellness, and help them to form sustainable lifestyle changes in a manner that is highly personalized to that individual.
Okay.
So it is the client that drives the journey, not the practitioner in this case.
Very interesting.
So that is what integrative health is all
Very
about.
interesting. And you said that you are working on training a lot of health and wellness coaches. Tell me, what are some of the wellness challenges Indians face?
Some of the wellness challenges India faces today, especially COVID and post-COVID, is mental health and mental well-being.
Okay.
Right. This is the biggest, challenge that we're facing, with most people staying at home, most people losing jobs, most people, having challenges in relationships. Because so far what had happened was we were so busy with our work that we had little time to even reflect.
Correct.
Now that we're sitting at home, it has given us an opportunity to reflect and realize what is disjointed in our life. What are the gaps? A lot of people have thinking and kind of revisiting. So I think mental health is going to be huge.
Okay.
Overall, changing lifestyle habits. You'll see more people now exercising more than ever before, whether that is even online, there's a big surge. So I think taking accountability and moving away from treatments which are invasive in nature. For example, medicines, doctors, hospitals. I think what I see is going to be people moving away from that and taking charge of their own life.
Okay.
And this COVID has made that happen. And I hope this will stay with people realizing lifestyle is the key for them to live happy.
Well said. Yeah. And, the role of a wellness coach, what would it be? I mean, the wellness coach could not possibly be trained to handle mental diseases.
Okay, so I'll answer the first question, like who is a wellness coach? Now, wellness coaches are behavior change experts. Okay. So they're trained on neuroscience of behavior change. They're trained on coaching psychology. They're trained on healthy lifestyle. And the challenge, Ashutosh, is that it's not that there is lack of powerful information on health and well-being. There's information everywhere on Google and all important channels. The challenge is implementation of that information is as applicable to that individual, right? And how do you personalize it? And really taking them where they want to be.
Okay.
And what may mean health for you may look very different for me. What may seem happiness for you may look very different for me or somebody. So wellness coach is somebody who can help the clients navigate from where they are today and have absolute clarity where they want to go and help them get there.
Okay.
So that's what a wellness coach is. Okay. And your second question is whether wellness coaches can work in mental well-being. Yes, and yes, and yes. Okay. So coaches, health and wellness coaches work with stress, anxiety, relationships. All of these are areas, and depression also. Please understand, most of the depression that we see right now is not clinical. It's not that there's something wrong with the neuron functioning of our brain. Okay. Most of the depression in the world today is our incapability of coping with life circumstances. Okay. So wellness coaches will definitely work in the area of depression when it's coming from this area. The areas that they don't work in is when it gets clinical. Say, for example, there's trauma, there is rape, drug abuse. Those are areas in terms of mental health. So look at it in a way, wellness coaches are going to work in mental well-being, okay, and help people with stress, anxiety, relationships, and depression, which is not clinical in nature.
Okay, wonderful. And you're building a business that is working very, very closely with every human being.
Yes.
Therefore, there has to be a very strong amount of trust between your wellness coach and your client.
Yes.
What are some of the values that you believe in for your business?
The number one values for me is being a good human being. I think a lot of people who come into the wellness space or want to serve others, even if they see an opportunity, they have to be a drive to want to help others, right? Generally, world over, when you see wellness coaches, they're naturally nurturing in nature. That is why they've chosen this field. It gives them immense satisfaction when somebody's life is transformed. So what I'm really looking for within my team is qualities of being a great human being. Okay. Second is ethics. It's very, very important for me. And sometimes it's challenging to do that in India and world over also. But I stand very, very strongly on ethics and value, and we want to create value.
Correct.
So ethics, value, and being a good human being are the core, because wellness coaching is so personal and so, it changes so many lives. It had to have those qualities.
Very interesting. Now, next question that I want to move to is, this is the age of the millennials.
Yes.
And, they are the people who are virtually taking over the world and taking it forward. What is the thinking of the millennials and the Gen Zs about wellness?
More important than ever before. More important than we would have ever thought at this age. I think the 20s are very, very aware. The younger audience is very, very aware. I don't think I was thinking about all of these things when I was younger. And I remember coaching a long time ago, a group of maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, a group of 24-year-olds. And there was a group of 4-5 people. It was very fascinating for me to coach that group, because it gave me an idea of what they were thinking about. A lot of these wanted to go towards minimalism. Okay. So in the phase that we want to acquire and buy more things, and, they wanted to go minimalistic. They wanted to get into social entrepreneurship. So working towards a cause and being an entrepreneur, I saw that. And that is, I think, is great. Giving importance to work-life balance, because we've seen our parents and ourselves would work 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. It was common for us to see that.
Sure.
And the younger generation saying, you know what? Money's not everything. I need it, but I need to identify when is enough. To kind of talk about that, I think it's very, very profound. But the challenge I see, can I say about the challenge that I see in this segment as well, is our ability and capability to articulate how we are feeling.
Okay.
In the world of technology, in the world of social media, where we are communicating and where we are breaking over WhatsApp messages, the younger people, the biggest challenge we're going to face in the years to come, including my son, that age group, the biggest skill they would need to know is how do I communicate how I feel, what's going on inside me, how do I connect to another individual. Because earlier, whenever there was a problem, we would sit down and solve the problem. Nowadays, a lot of youngsters will say, they will escape from the situation rather than conversing, talking. And that is the challenge I see. But a lot of great interest in wellness and well-being in the younger audience now. They're going to retreats, spiritual retreats, they're going to, meditation classes and so on and so forth, which I think we didn't do it when we were young.
Certainly, you did.
I did. But we didn't do it. I mean, the realization right now is
I agree.
Quantum number is significantly more.
Absolutely. So, Preeti, I've got time for 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
My next question is that for a person who achieved self-realization at such an early age, who's, went through an accident, another self-realization, there's so many points that you have been able to internalize and think through. What does success mean to Preeti?
Happiness.
Okay.
And, no amount of money if I earn, if I'm not happy at the end of the day, if I'm going to bed and I'm having a peaceful night of sleep, that's really important. Okay. And that's what's really happening. It was very difficult the first 3 years when we started off WellG. There were many times I wanted to pull my hair out. There were many times I cried because I don't know whether I would be able to do this. But we reach a stage now, and I'm so glad I had the resilience to pull through the first few years. But there's such great satisfaction and happiness when you see there are coaches who are coming out and they're changing other people's life, your team, and they're changing people's life. No matter what happens, I will feel that I have created whatever may be a small legacy of goodwill and done some good work. And that is happiness for me. And happiness is everything.
Fantastic. And my last question to you, where do you draw your inspiration from?
Earlier, my inspiration came a lot from my father. And he is very, he's an entrepreneur himself. So as a young girl, I would always sit in the boardroom, listen to discussions, and he would really inspire me. He even does a lot of social work even now. And the gigantic heart of compassion that he has. He has people who are working with him for 20, 25 years. And no matter ups and downs, they're still stuck to him. They look up to him as a leader and a mentor and a guide. I drive my inspiration from him. And the second person I drive my inspiration is from a 5-year-old son. And I'll tell you why. My 5-year-old son really inspires me because every time he falls, he gets up. Every time he cries, the next time he laughs at himself. Right? And the other inspiration was beautiful about a child. Now, when I see how they're doing experiential learning, is the world is their oyster. You try, if they're creating a storybook, you can't impose your ideas on them. They have their ideas, their imagination, and they'll say, this is my mind, this is my thinking mind, I have an open mind, and this is my imagination, not yours, mama. Right? And for them to say that they have a mind, I didn't even know I had a mind when I was 5 years old. So every day when I observe my child and all of these, I'm learning so much from him. And he inspires me. These are 2 people who really inspired me.
Fantastic. Preeti, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. I wish you and WellG lots and lots of success.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. Thank you so much for having me and to listen to my story. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast. A platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.